Greetings and felicitations, YouTube. Jarl the Appian Way here at the Cyclades. For a battle replay, I decided to flip the script a bit. I decided I was going to play as Paris this time. And mostly I chose Paris because I wanted to talk about Paris' mythical roster. My opponent is going to be Phthia, led by the one and only Achilles. We're going to talk about his army first, just so I can go through its units. Achilles is here on foot, so he can better take advantage of his Divine Challenge ability. He's got a unit of Centaur Champions over here. You're only allowed one per army in multiplayer. He does have 2 Spear-Fighting Myrmidons, and he put 4 XP on both of them. And this is actually, that's an interesting idea. I'd like to see how that plays out in other battles, but I mean, these are guys that will not break, so they're going to get... so their morale doesn't matter, but they do have better melee attack and better melee defense, as well as better missile damage from their javelins, but that's only because they reload their 2 shots faster. So that missile damage doesn't really translate effectively, I feel like. My opponent took a bold play, I would say, playing as Achilles and knowing that you're going to be going against Paris, which you might expect your opponent to bring a bunch of skirmish options. He did bring 3 Achaean slingers, but he also brought 2 heavy Achaean bowmen. These guys are a medium weight class infantry, 160 range, 38 missile damage, and that missile damage is 8 points of which are armor piercing. They also happen to have 125 regular melee damage, so I guess the idea here is, you know, I don't know, they just seem expensive to me for what they do. And they do have 5,100 hit point pool. I would just worry about these guys getting chewed apart by Paris archers, personally. His infantry line, as I mentioned, the back line was a Spear-Fighting Myrmidons. He also has 2 light swordsmen and 3 Pythian spears, which are a heavy shielded spear infantry with a speed of 37. This is actually a pretty solid unit here. My army is a little bit of a feint, alright? I picked Paris of Troy roster, but I did not bring any archers. No, I made a rush build. This is my 1 ranged unit. It is a Trojan Noble on a chariot supporting a regular heavy Trojan chariot. The idea here is that I'm not actually going to use the Trojan Noble chariot like an archer unit, because it isn't. It's a chariot. It is first and foremost and always a chariot. It has more armor. It has the same hit points. Just comparing it to the other chariot here. It deals more melee damage. It doesn't have as much of a charge bonus. And its melee attack and melee defense is lower. Actually, yeah, but the melee defense isn't consequently that much lower. And I also picked, because I know Phthia has chariots, a couple of giants. This time, Paris doesn't have giant armored spearmen, but he does have giant vanguard, which is cool because these are vanguard deployed giants. This means you could do stuff like put them in trees and really sneak them up there. They only cost about 600 a pop too, so they're very cheap for what they do. You just gotta keep them secret, gotta keep them safe. And here's the other highlight of this army, of course, the Cyclops. Paris is one of, if not the only faction that gets giant vanguard and Cyclops in the roster. I freaking love it. Like, this is fantastic. Giants and Cyclops are my absolute favorite of the mythical units. Let's talk about the range component. I brought 3 light skirmishers, one of them with 2 XP, 2 of them with 1 XP. The extra XP is turning into morale as well as missile damage. My main line is going to be 3 shielded spear warriors, and I put on the left flank 2 champions of Troy. That's the maximum number of these 1,500 point units. I put them on both on the left flank because my right flank was protected by a giant rock. But he deployed all the way up here, and he had Achilles way off to the side. So when I saw this map, I realized right away he had both of these rock formations on his border. They were fantastic places for him to hide archers. And that's exactly what he did over here. Now, my hero, and this is probably the highlight of this army, is not Paris. No, it is a Defender Champion. The Defender Champion is one of the cheaper... The Defender is the cheapest hero option for Paris. And what makes this one particularly good is Hallowed Ground, which grants morale and melee defense and missile resistance around him, but also Favor of Asclepius, which is these 2 healing bombs that he can just drop in an area of effect for 30 meters that heals 450 hit points across 45 seconds. Also, very importantly, I put him on a chariot because Achilles. Achilles' Divine Challenge cannot target a hero on a chariot. So I have my Cyclops to help me out with fighting Achilles. I have my Giants to help me fight Chariots. I have my Chariots to help me fight Chariots. My opponent did not bring Chariots, so that means I have the Chariot advantage. Also, I have Giants to help me deal with Centaur Champions. Pretty expensive unit, and the Giants, especially if they could be supported by somebody else, will do good work here. They don't have... Oh, they do have 80 armor. What's their missile block chance, since they do have a shield? I am kind of curious here. Missile block chance of 60%. So they're pretty survivable, so I'm not going to be able to get away with, slings or javelins targeting a Centaur champion, not as effectively as other units. You can see the slow speed of the champions of Troy really hurting them here. A speed of 28, they're, puttering to get into position, as compared to the Shielded Spear Warriors with 37. This battle is going to be a little bit of cat and mouse for a while as I turn on the rangefinders for you. He has a pretty significant range advantage on these slingers, so I decide I'm going to force him to do something about those slingers. My plan is, these guys, my heavy and medium infantry, they've got, 55% block chance, 60 armor, and the champions of Troy, 85% missile block chance and 100 armor. So I'm just going to go ahead and walk my mainline infantry up and see if I can't eat some slinger rounds. These guys only cost 280 points, so let's watch them try to hurt the Shielded Spear Warrior. 8910 is the max hit points. They've already pulled off almost 300. Wow, they're doing some damage. Look at that. Yeah, wow. Bunny farts are more threatening, frankly. So he's pulled his Centaur champions back into the trees. I've taken the opportunity. My Giants were exposed for a bit, but I was hoping that the line of sight might keep them out of view, but I'm pretty sure he was able to see me move them into this copse of trees. I'm now going to start moving up my chariots, and he's wise to it and immediately pulls back his Achaean slingers. So this is a guy who knows what he's doing. And I'm happy about this, because I want opponents that know what they're doing, know what they're getting themselves into. He sees that I have more infantry than he does for the frontline battle, and the light swordsmen are outclassed, so he's going to start moving up his spear-fighting Myrmidon, especially on this flank right here, because he's threatened by my chariots. The only thing that's stopping my chariots at this stage is heavy spears, heavy infantry, and I'm just perfectly content right now to take my time, let their slingers try to shoot me up, move up slowly but surely, keeping my javelins outside of the range of his slingers, and I start ordering the attack. The champions of Troy start throwing their javelins, dealing a little bit of damage here. I think some of them actually end up going into the slingers, which is as a result of collateral from targeting this 50-minute spear. Really worked in my favor there. And so the champions of Troy are going to spend all of their Pila getting into position, peeling off plenty of hit points, and getting us a fight here. So my opponent has kind of cloistered himself into this copse of trees, which isn't a bad thing, because I do still have chariots on the field. His archers are going to do a lot more work against the Shielded Spear Warriors, especially the spear-fighting Myrmidons. They're going to do just fine here with that extra support. As you see, he's trying to make sure he keeps his Achaean slingers protected. And boulder. Not a good throw. I think I was probably trying to target the spear-fighting Myrmidons. I'm going to keep my Cyclops out of this for a bit because he's keeping Achilles out of it. So I'll just hang back with Cyclops and use him to throw boulders. My javelins are specifically targeting the spear-fighting Myrmidon over here, or trying to. And I have my Defender Champion up here. I've moved my Giants out now, revealed their position to see if I can't get a flank attack since I don't need to worry about enemy chariots. And speaking of chariots, now it's my chance to move them up. I see the spear-fighting Myrmidon is out here. I'm going to take a hit.
Your warriors have spotted hidden foes.
And that's when he pulls his Centaur champions out to attack my Giant Vanguard. I'm going to move my hero on chariot out here to support this attack. And because the chariot is anti-large, or no, it's just armor-piercing. Never mind. These are armored units. The Giant Vanguard will get tore up eventually, but you can see we're dealing plenty of damage. He's getting his slings thrown into this because the Giant Vanguard are very lightly armored, so it's a good target for them. There's a boulder. And I get a really good charge on the spear-fighting Myrmidon. Look at this. Now, here's the thing about the spear-fighting Myrmidon. They won't rout ever. But these arrows they're helping me as much as they're hurting me. So that you see the Trojan chariots pulling in and out, the noble archers getting their shots in. Each one of these spear-fighting Myrmidons was knocked down. Really valuable for me there. Alright, so Achilles is now into the mix. I do have, seeing that he's come down here, I'm going to start charging my Cyclops at him. And I've broken the Centaur champions. I have this Giant Vanguard chasing it, and I'm going to go ahead and chase them off. But I have another Giant Vanguard free, and I have my hero on chariot free, and I see this path here, and I'm going to take it. The spear-fighting Myrmidon's just chasing me relentlessly. I'm going to go ahead and take a cheeky quick charge right here, and then I'm going to pull them through, and all of this skirmishing pile now belongs to me. My javelins are still trying to do work over here against the spear-fighting Myrmidon, but it looks like I'm probably just hurting my own men more than I'm hurting them. Champions of Troy trying to flank, two of them on each flank. We'll see if that's any good. I do lose another shielded spear warrior. I picked them because they can actually put the shield on their back and go into battle with double spear. And I'm going to go ahead and start targeting this blob for javelins, and I'm also going to get a boulder off here in a second. Or I'm going to try to. I don't think I get it targeted very well because it's you cannot do a point-blank target. I would have loved to have put a boulder right here, but it's just too close to the Cyclops. So yeah, one of my champions of Troy gets... Oh, there's the boulder. Yeah. One of the champions of Troy gets routed, being chased off by spear-fighting Myrmidons, so I'm going to continue to challenge it with my champion of Troy. My javelins are now threatened, so I have to split them up and start moving them around. The Cyclops is facing Achilles alone, and there's plenty of guys in the way. And what a sunset for this battle, right? There they are. Yeah, Cyclops. You show that guy what for. Oop, wrong button. There's the one I'm looking for. Yeah. In a pool of blood. The Cyclops is going to get routed out of this fight, but is not going to be eliminated quite yet. The other thing to know, just like his Myrmidons, is that Achilles is unbreakable. So as you can see over here, spear-fighting Myrmidons are trying to just stop the blood loss that's happened with the heavy Achaean bowmen. But they've done plenty of damage. I have a routing Giant Vanguard over here who doesn't know how to find the way off the map because apparently it's all cliff face. So they're just going to walk back and forth here. You can see the the runs they're making in the grass. My hero, almost perfectly healed and having only used one of his healing spells so far, has got these 2 units of Achaean slingers on the run. And over here, the spear-fighting Myrmidons eliminated one of my guards of Troy. Meanwhile, I have a very haggard-looking infantry line, and I'm starting to throw my light skirmishers into the fight in hand-to-hand combat. As you can see, light swordsmen are a bit of a challenge for them. Cyclops gets routed, he'll come back like I said, and I've realized at this point I need to keep my chariots alive. The spear-fighting Myrmidon will fight them until they die. So I'm actually trying to do a regroup right here of my Cyclops and all 3 of my chariot units. He's got to regroup this spear-fighting Myrmidon. Most of my men are wrapped up in this engagement, and Achilles is going to clean all of this up. Take his time, deal as much damage as possible. I get really lucky here with a shattered light swordsman, and I'm going to try and grab these 2 units and run with them around this hill position just to drag his forces along. Actually, this giant is wavering. Let's see. Didn't even make it into the fight. Yeah, you gotta run, you giant vanguard. Now that I got everybody grouped up over here, I pop off that Favor of Asclepius, and it's going to heal everybody here for 450 hit points across 45 seconds. It's not a lot, but it's enough. I notice these two Achaean slingers regroup, and he's trying to get them over to the rest of his force. Oh, heck no. No. You don't get that benefit. Sorry to say. I'm going to go ahead and route both of these guys off the battlefield. Let's fast forward as we get to these later stages of the battle. These guys are broken, routing. I got my light skirmisher over here. He's got one unit of spear-fighting myrmidons down here. I'm hoping I can slow them down just long enough to get my chariot force in here. You see, I shattered both of those slingers, and unfortunately, those javelins were not going to last at all against the spear-fighting myrmidon. Okay, so I have this giant vanguard routing, still in the trees, still routing. I'm hoping that it'll come back. I've got
Warriors are rallying.
and so he finally rallies. All I have now is the fact that his army has taken a position in the trees, and this is smart, and he should absolutely stay here. It is completely in his benefit to, because I'm on chariots, and I don't have a lot of hit points. If I go in there and fight him, I'm going to be so slow and bogged down that his troops will be able to cut me to pieces. And he has an Aristea just ripe and waiting. So I get my giant vanguard over. I have no more heals. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how do I want to handle this. And that's when he moves his lineup. Both these Pythian spears reveal their position to me. I can now see those two Pythian spears. And since I can see them, okay. What's your favorite resource in this game? Is it stone? I get one like that, and I'm going to go ahead and move up my chariots to support the Cyclops, and I'm sitting here going, okay, am I going to get lucky enough to do that twice? Could I possibly be able to chuck another boulder with this Cyclops into a group of infantry? Say it ain't so. I go ahead and I start moving up my chariots to try and encourage him to stay there, making him think that I'm actually going to attack him. But really, I'm just waiting for the cooldown on this lovely guy. There it is. Yes. And he's now up to a solid 25 kills. I aimed for the other Pythian spear this time, trying to just shatter that morale. And I'm going to take the charge, since he's right at the edge of the trees. I'm going to take one good charge here, and then I'm going to pull everybody back out. And trade places with the giant and the Cyclops. And he chases. I was stunned that he chased me out of the trees. Absolutely stunned. I need to get these chariots out of there. I've shattered a Pythian spear. I've got this light swordsman really broken, and this Pythian spear is it also broken? Is also broken. I did try a cheeky little boulder throw against the spear fighting myrmidons, but at this point I'm just like, okay, kill what you can. Kill what you can. Don't let these broken units regroup. So I have the Trojan Noble Chariot chasing a light swordsman. I have my hero chasing the Pythian spears. And I'm going to chase these Pythian spears into the trees, knowing full well that my hero would be very, very exposed. I'm going to use my heavy Trojan chariots, and I'm going to do some hit and run attacks. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 of the 9 models in this unit now. And I'm facing a bunch of spears and Achilles. And this Trojan Noble Chariot is at 4 out of 9. Just gonna... They will not break. There is nothing that will let these units break. So all I can do is be efficient. And the most efficient way to deal with Myrmidons, probably gonna have to say it's chariots with hit and run attacks. Those light swordsmen came back, even though my Trojan Noble Chariots had dealt plenty of damage. So look what he's doing. He's going right back to the trees, which is smart. This is what I mean by the speed of a hero on a chariot, by the way. Look at this. His speed right now is a 46 somehow. But these guys are still only broken. They're not routing yet. They're not shattered yet. I get another quick hit and run here. My Cyclops is routed now. Or dead, one or the other. My giants have shattered. All that I have left are my 3 chariot units. That Pythian spear finally shatters, so I'm going to get my hero out of there. Now I've just... And just like that, the light swordsman shatter. So all that's left to do is to kill a bunch of spearmen that will not die. I'm going to put this into a little bit of a fast forward here. You're going to see the chariots start to pile up, but not just chariots, also Myrmidon. Myrmidon are also going to start piling up. I'm pretty sure the reason he keeps like making like he's going to go back to the trees, and then I put in an attack order. I think what he's doing is he's hoping he can get a charge bonus. You can see he's done plenty of damage. Here I just do a simple move through order. Just knocks over a couple. That one also knocks over a couple. I don't believe it dealt enough hit point damage, so I really just have to make attack orders and then move away orders. And then my hero is still in his chariot. There's also always the threat that he can get his chariot broken, and then he's on foot, and then Achilles just declares a duel with him, which could end up poorly for the defender companion, because then he's not able to keep himself alive. He does have an ability that he can only use when he's on foot, I think. This hallowed ground. I don't think you can use this in the chariot. I don't remember seeing it on the ability bar. The only ability I remember seeing on him was the favor of Asclepius and his Aristea. As you can see, my Aristea, not available yet. Achilles must have used his at some point because his Aristea bar is completely gone. Balance of power in my favor. I still have this broken shielded spear warrior, but they're definitely not going to come back. My heavy Trojan chariot breaks. It's down to just my Trojan noble chariot and my hero at this stage. But I'm hopefully going to get these heavy Trojan chariots back. And now it's just going to be a back and forth. I've eliminated one of the spear-fighting Myrmidons. There's only 2 men left in this unit. 1 Achilles left at almost half health. It's a nail-biter, folks. Who's it gonna be? Because no matter how hard I try, I can't rout these men. 1 Myrmidon left. And this is the stage of the battle where my opponent concedes. The game froze up for about 10 seconds, and then it said that he dropped from the match. I imagine that what he did was he just Alt F4'd out of rage. I don't know. So yeah, it was a long battle. It was a long battle, but it was a fun one for me because I got to do something different with the Paris of Troy roster. There is potential for rush here when you have giant vanguards to do anti-chariot work and a Cyclops to do anti-Achilles work. He didn't do so hot in the long run, but he could have done okay. The javelins, so-so performance. I didn't get a good angle with them to throw their javelins into the spearfighting Myrmidons. This one had 200 kills, that one with 98. Phenomenal performance from my opponent, Thonhauser, I thought. Like Champions of Troy, one of them did great, one of them my chariots, though, 219 kills and 92 kills. They were the workhorse for me. They did most of the late stage work for me, as you could absolutely see in that battle. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind about with Paris, is that, you know, the best way to play Paris may not be to bring Paris. Let's talk about the funds I saved just by not taking Paris. If you take Paris and you're going against Phthia, you at the very least need to make him cost 1,790. You got to put him on an archer chariot. You have to, or else Achilles is just going to grab Paris into an epic one-on-one duel and die. So, put him on a chariot. Keep him mobile. That's 1,790 funds. The hero I took, the defender companion, I put him on on a melee chariot. 1,160. Okay? And he comes with 2 healing abilities. And a speed of 80. Like, that's pretty solid. With a chariot, that's really solid. 70 armor, 70 missile block chance. His stats on foot, actually 65 armor, 65% block chance. Okay. With the infantry, Champions of Troy, you could take 2, so you might as well take 2. I feel they're a really solid unit. They do have 2 Pila. But I took the Shielded Spear Warriors because you can toggle their spear to be two-hand spear, and the shield is on their back. What that gets you is it gets you a little bit more melee damage and charge bonus out of them. It's a fun little tweak to do, because my thought here was, hey, let's do this as a rush, right? Let's do this as a charge. And I brought these three guys, and it was that. I brought this chariot. I brought this Trojan Noble chariot, Cyclops, and the Giant Vanguard. Yeah, 580 each. 5 funds remaining. And this was my rush army. And I got really lucky that he pretty much tried to turtle up and wait for me to come to him. It gave me favorable matchups, and it gave me the opportunity to outflank him and attack with my chariots. Do not play defensive with your chariots. Do not play defensive, especially with archer chariots. Attack, attack, attack. They're a chariot first, a bow second. The bow is just a... It's like putting sugar on top of a pound cake, okay? The bow, it's nice, it's good. You'll like that extra sweetness, but the real thing there is the cake. The chariot cake. Eat your chariot cake. Ta-ta, have a good one. Love you all. See ya.